So before I get into this, I would just like to say thank you to all those that watched the last video or commented or liked it in any shape, form, or fashion. Even if you just watched it and you didn't comment or didn't react to it at all. I see those that have watched it. It's nearly 800 people. And that is incredible. I didn't expect 100 people to watch that and to appreciate it, but I know that it's getting out there and I appreciate that so much. And a lot of the comments said, keep making these videos. They really help me and they've helped me. And if you keep tagging me in them, I'll keep watching them. And so that's what I'm going to do. Um, and hopefully, we can become better human beings together. Um, Today, I want to open this video by giving you the best advice that I ever got. And the best advice I ever got came from Dustin, which a lot of the best advice I ever had came from him. I told you in the last video that he was like the big brother that I never had. So a lot of the advice that I have gotten from him over the years, I'm going to relate to you all. And now to get into this, you'll have to know a little history. When I was 10 years old, I started gaining weight rapidly. I am not a small individual. The reason that the camera does not show anything below my face is because I'm still embarrassed of my weight and things. But at 10 is when it really started. So before high school, I was not even in middle school yet, and I really started gaining a lot of weight to the point where I was miserable. I didn't like being in my own skin, and I've said that in the last video too. But, a lot of things were a challenge for me. You got looks and you got people rolling their eyes as you're sticking their nose up at you, and really don't understand what you're going through. And unless you've been there, you don't. So it was a struggle every day. And finding a date was difficult mainly because I didn't have any confidence in myself, period. Um, just didn't want to talk to a female, didn't want to engage because I was afraid they would see my stomach and take off and run. So I just, kind of became closed off and became all of the girls that I was around. I became their best friend. I became the person that they talked to and confided in. And I loved that role, don't get me wrong. But it was definitely difficult. Well, one day I was griping and complaining and whining and just complaining to Dustin, who is one of the smallest people that I know. He's starting to gain a little weight, so I guess you do get, you learn later. But um, the more I cried and complained about it, I guess the madder he got. And I said, one of these days I'm going to be somebody. I'm going to be somebody and I'm going to be a success and I'm going to be able to shove it in their faces, so to speak. And it wasn't to any particular, there was a lot of girls that I still don't associate with, but they would talk about me behind my back, but loud enough where I could hear them, if you know what I mean. And they would there was awful things that they said. I can't even repeat the things that they said about me and thought about me, and nor do I care now. It's just reference for this case. But that was the case in question. And I just kept complaining and saying, one of these days I'm going to show them, I'm going to show them, I'm going to be somebody. And Dustin looked right at me and he's like, man, you already are somebody. You're you. Be you. Be who you are. And through that advice, it taught me, I already am somebody. So are you. You're somebody too. Whether you're struggling with finances, whether you're struggling in this aspect or that aspect, or you're having marital problems, you're having relationship problems, you're still somebody. You're you. And you can be the best version of you or the worst version of you. We make those choices, We live in this world that is so full of hatred and so full of angry thoughts and angry people. And why? We're all the same humanity. We may not look the same. We may not talk the same. I have a different accent than most of you that are watching and vice versa. But the thing is that the things that make us different should not hinder us from being close to one another. Own who you are. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I am an overweight, cowboy hat wearing, country music loving, pickup truck driving, long haired, United Methodist Caucasian pastor. And I own it with honor and dignity because that is who I am. And I cannot change that for anybody, nor do I want to. But there's a difference in not changing who you are and casting hatred on somebody else. We live in a society where racism is still a problem. Why is it still a problem in today's society? Why are we going to hate somebody based on the color of their skin and don't even care about the content of their heart? Now, there is so much more to a human being than what color your skin pigmentation is. So much more. And I have friends from every race, creed, or color, and racism is definitely still a problem. I'll give you an example. My wife is a gorgeous woman who is a Mexican, and there is several times when we walk into a department store where a store clerk or a security guard will follow her around the store. Now, if any one of us, when me and my wife walk into a store, the one that should stand out will be the 6 foot tall, overweight individual that walked in behind her. But if we ever part ways, somebody follows her around the store. Now, that to me is ridiculous. And in any age and in any society, and it's kind of like the more we move forward with things, the more we move backwards. Let's stop hating on people. For the love of God, stop hating on people. And here's what I have learned just by being a Caucasian individual who happens to have a lot of friends from all different races and lifestyles and cultures. Don't try to pretend like you know what somebody else goes through. Because until you can walk a minute in somebody else's shoes, you have no idea what it's like to be somebody else. No clue. But what I have learned is that being yourself and being true to who you are gains a lot of respect from a lot of different people. But the fact that we still have racism is saddened me beyond belief. It's awful, period. It should not be a problem. I make a challenge to anybody in my generation. Let's be the generation that can stop that. Let's let hatred stop with us. I'll give you this example too. For all the people that are prejudiced and racist, my daughter, by her race, is mixed. She doesn't look it. She's blonde hair and blue eyed, but according to her culture, she is a mixed person. So let me ask you this question. Which part of her am I supposed to love? And which part of her am I supposed to not love? You see, because the way that I look at it is she's my daughter and I love her with all my heart, regardless of what her cultural background is. We need to stop this. We need to stop this hating each other and stop, learn from our past, yes, but make it a better future. Let's not dwell on it. Instead of going backwards, let's go forwards. Let's move. I'll end with this story here, and I said this a couple Sundays ago in church, that I remember when the first African American family moved into my subdivision, and I was told not to go over to their house for whatever reason it was, and I didn't get that. I didn't understand it at the time, and I was told not to go visit them. So maybe a day or two after they moved in, me and a couple of other guys from the subdivision, we walked over and we introduced ourselves to that family. Now, before you say, hey, y'all did the right thing, it was out of rebellion, not out of pure love and respect, okay? But we went over, we knocked on the door, and they opened the door and welcomed us in. They sat us down. They asked if we were hungry. They offered to feed us. They offered us something to drink because we'd been playing outside. You see, the irony of that is they treated us with the utmost of respect that we were instructed not to treat them with. Isn't it funny how we can be so diverse in this world is still full of hatred. Let's change that. And we can only change it together.